Hello and welcome to our webinar, Shortcuts to Starting a Health Science Pathway. Are you starting or adapting your health science pathways or searching for content to build courses? Well, today we're going to share tools and materials offered by Realityworks that can jumpstart your pathway. We'll take a closer look at some ready-to-use curricula, some presentation slides and learning tools that apply to the health sciences pathway. And let me just go back to my slide. Here we go. The 5 pathways within the health science career cluster are biotechnology research and development, diagnostic services, supportive services, health informatics, and therapeutic services. Now, as you begin to plan your health science program, think about which specific pathway or pathways you'd like to develop a program for. Do you want to keep it general? Or do you wish to be more specific within the pathway you are developing? Now, as you begin to look at what you need in the area, a very helpful website to go to is www.careertech.org/career-clusters. At that location, there is something called the Plan of Study worksheet that happens to be editable. Now, here on the screen, you'll see a sample plan of study for health science. Now, this is a planning tool to help lay out the courses that you'll need in your health science pathway plan of study. Now, we'll share some resources that can help you build out your plan of study. But first, let's consider what makes an effective health science program. Now, here are the 6 key elements for developing career pathways. These elements are important as we consider, or important to consider for any pathway program you develop, including health science. So some of the 6 things are building cross-agency partnerships, of course, identifying industry sector and engaging employers. That's going to be an important one we'll cover. It's really important how you design your education and training programs. What content do you have? Try to identify funding needs and sources for that. Are you aligning your policies and or programs with things like standards and so forth? And then, of course, measure system change and performance. So those are the 6 key elements of any career pathway, and we will be referring to these 6 key elements and considering how could you use them to guide development of any health science career pathway. Now, one very helpful place to start or to go to is ct.careertech.org, and that URL is on the bottom of the slide for you. And this will take you to the Common Career Technical Course Standards for Health Science. They include specific measurable performance objectives for health science career clusters in general, as well as each pathway within the cluster. Now, review the standards that apply to the pathway you're developing to ensure that you are teaching these basic core competencies in your program. Now, this is part of those 6 key elements where you are designing the education and training programs. Now, another URL that we think is a really good resource to become familiar with is, again, on the bottom of the screen. It's careertech.org/health science. Now, this also includes knowledge and skill statements for the health science career cluster as well as each pathway. So there are knowledge and skill statements for the health science career clusters, in general, but then for each of those specific pathways, including therapeutic, diagnostic, informatics, support services, and biotechnology, there are those knowledge and skills that are identified that your students should know, as well as an editable template at that location that we spoke of that will help you begin to develop the courses that you're going to need for your plan of study. So here's just one example of a knowledge and skills statement specific to the therapeutic services career pathway. You can see that it focuses on effective communication. So if you're building a therapeutic service plan of study, do your courses include this type of content? Are you teaching patient communication skills in your courses? Now, later in the webinar, we'll see how we can help you do just that and more with the content that we have and some of our hands-on resources. Now, involving local healthcare industry leaders and clinical professionals in your pathway development is absolutely critical. How can you understand what local employers are looking for in a healthcare professional if you don't ask? Consider putting together a healthcare advisory council. Choose from a variety of settings and levels of responsibility to get a variety of viewpoints and input on your council. Plan to meet on a regular basis, perhaps quarterly, and have a very frank dialogue and ask, what are you looking for in your employees? And then you consider, does your course content align with what they are looking for. Use your advisory council members to form important partnerships. Now, are they willing to allow students at their location for field or job experience or even job shadowing? Also, are they interested in perhaps coming in to be a guest speaker for your classes? So think about creative ways you can use those advisory council members. Now, engaging employers, again, is one of those 6 key elements for developing career pathways, as seen on that earlier slide. Now, many districts require that any career pathway created lead to an industry-recognized certification or credential of some sort. Now, in order to find the right certifications or credentials for your program, you have to be asking the right questions. So we've got some of those on the screen in front of you. You know, does your state, Department of Ed perhaps, or even district or whatever, recommend a specific certification or testing agency? You know, find that out. Are your instructors licensed to teach certain courses like CNA things? What are your local employers looking for? We spoke of that. Is employment transferable? And what is the cost of a certification or a specific credential? So those are some of the bits of information that you should be looking to answer as you gather the information on certifications and credentials. Now, where can you find applicable certifications? There are actually several organizations to look to, and we're just going to share a few that we've thought of. There are probably more out there. One that we want to point you to is the National Health Career Association, also known as the NHA. Now, they happen to offer 8 different certification areas. Some of these include things like medical assistant, phlebotomy technician, EKG technician, medical administration assistant, pharmacy tech, billing and coding, patient care technician or assistant, those types of things. And you have the URL on the slide in front of you if you'd like to look further at that. Now, another one known as the National Occupational Competency Testing Institute, or NOCTI, they have 5 larger category areas, and I'll share some of the 5. One is called Job Ready, and those within that category are like health assisting, home health aide, nursing assistant. The second category for NOCTI is called Pathway. So they've got, health informatics, therapeutic services, and diagnostic services certifications. There's also something called state collaboration, and beneath that they have 2. There are biotechnology and healthcare core. They have a category that's specific to employability skills, and there are 3 or 4 certifications that you can work for as far as workplace readiness related things. And then the 5th category that NOCTI has is called Certificate and Partner, and they have 2 different certifications where they've partnered with a group called the AMCA, and we will talk about that group next. That's the American Medical Certification Association. Now, they have certifications available in 3 categories, and I've got those listed for you up there. Now, clinical certification areas include things like nursing assistants, phlebotomy technicians, or medical assistant. The administrative certification area has credentials for a medical administrative assistant or electronic health record certification. And then the one called career advancement has areas that have things like a customer service certification. They even have one called hair loss specialist. So again, you've got the URL on the slide in front of you, but you can see that there are a lot of, or just many industry recognized certification and credentials that you could be considering for your pathway program. So think about the type of pathway that you want to create and look at these certifications. Are there some that line up very well? And then see how to go after that certification, what credentials your instructors need to have, the cost to you, is there a cost to the student? So thinking about all those types of things. Now, there are other organizations that offer technical or skill assessments. The first one I've got on my list there is the National Consortium for Health Science Education, and they offer something called the Health Science Assessment. Now, though it's not a right-to-work credential, the assessment does add credibility of a national certification of achievement, and it can also satisfy Perkins requirements. It can validate student mastery of those foundational health care knowledge and skills. There are also benefits for students because, at the end of it, they've got that nationally recognized end of pathway certificate, and it will validate the skills that they've attained. It's great to have for job interviews and on their resume. It's also great for recognition on their college applications, and sometimes it can even lead to easier articulation into college programs. Now, another one that you're probably familiar with is HOSA, And HOSA sponsors dozens of knowledge and skills competitions at the state and national level relating to a wide variety of health science topics. Actually, HOSA offers 56 competitive events that are aligned to the National Healthcare Foundation and accountability criteria outlined by the National Consortium for Health Science Ed. So again, HOSA members are really encouraged to take full advantage of their HOSA National Competitive Events Program as a way to increase their knowledge and skills as they prepare for those very important future health occupations. So let's take a look now at curriculum specifically. Curriculum forms the content backbone to any effective plan of study. What you teach is just as important as how you teach. So think back to those 6 key elements. That's where we can help you. We can help you design your health science program, plan of study, those courses and the content that you'll include, because we actually have dozens of lessons from a variety of curricula provided with our experiential learning resources, like our simulators and test trainers. We've reviewed these and we've put them together, and we put together actually several different recommended packages of content for creating several different health science pathways. We have one for basic nursing, certified nursing assistant, and then also a pathway program for geriatrics and gerontology. So here is some of the content and lesson plans that we have available with our Realityworks products specific to that basic nursing pathway and plan of study. Now, each of these hands-on learning tools integrate teaching soft skills in their lessons, that important patient empathy and communication, along with the specific nursing skills. All the curricula with each of these hands-on learning tools have things like facilitator instructions, assessment, slide presentation. So we've tried to make it very, very user-friendly, ready for you out of the box. So you can see that for a basic nursing pathway, we've got a lot of the work done for you already. If you're just starting out, if you got this package, you would have all of these types of nursing skills. You'd have the trainers as well as the lesson plans ready for you. Now, if you have a certified nursing assistant pathway that you would like to develop from scratch, we can also help you there. And you can see on the screen here, here are all of the types of products that we recommend that you could use with a CNA plan of study. Again, each of the products, though, come in task trainers and so forth, comes with not only lesson plans that teach that hard nursing skill related to CNA, but also those soft skills. Now, finally, here's some of the content we have available with Realityworks products that we are recommending for use in the Geriatric and Gerontology program and plan of study. Each of these integrates, again, those soft skills, patient empathy and communication, along with specific geriatric nursing skills. So the last 3 slides I just showed you, that was the content. Those were the lesson topics that are available that come with our task trainers and simulators. So once you see the breadth of the content that's available and ready to go, you can begin to figure out how to plug it into the courses you have in your plan of study. Now, remember the earlier slide that had the list of courses in the plan of study template? Well, if you already have some of these types of experiential resources, you can begin to review the curriculum topics included and see where they best fit into your pathway. Don't reinvent the wheel. The lessons that were created by educators for educators like you. So again, there's step-by-step instructions, assessments, slide presentations, and ready-to-use activities. Now, you may want to do a self-assessment of all the resources and curricula you already have. Perhaps you've been teaching for a while, you might have some of this already, or if you're starting from scratch and have nothing, that's a blank slate. But do your self-assessment, and you don't just have to be looking at the things that you've gotten from Realityworks, but you may have gotten task trainers and nursing hands-on simulators and things like that from a variety of sources. Did they come with curriculum? What have you got for teaching both the hard nursing skills and also those soft skills? And then start putting those puzzle pieces into the potential courses that will be in your plan of study. Find the gaps and then look for ways to fill them. So if you're looking for more specific to those important employability skills, one thing we do want to let you know is Realityworks has a standalone employability skills program that does teach over 20 different soft skills. Now, the program like this can be used in any career pathway program, not just health science. Each lesson in this program could be a standalone or is a standalone on a specific soft skill. You can pick and choose, or you can teach them all. But the program comes with an instructor guide, student workbooks, and scenario cards. So if you'd like to significantly increase your soft skill instruction, this is a really easy way to integrate it into your health science plan of study. So we talked a little bit about curriculum. Now we're going to share some of the hands-on resources we have available and that are recommended for the 3 different health science pathways. Again, basic nursing, certified nursing assistant, and then geriatrics and gerontology. So here's a list of the recommended simulators, task trainers, and hands-on resources that Realityworks has to provide students with that practical application of the content that they've learned. So, if you were interested in our basic nurseway pathway package, here are all the things that you would get in that package. And your students would get a hands-on learning of transferable career skills, also a foundational knowledge that they'll use in a nursing career. Now, here's a list of the simulators and task trainers that we would recommend for the certified nursing assistant pathway. So you can see how your students would use these to get that practical application of the content. They would have the geriatric nursing mannequin to do those CNA tasks like mobility, transfer, ambulation, just pericare, general cleaning, that kind of thing. You've got the blood pressure simulator to learn basic blood pressure with Geri, or even any type of patient. So all of them on there, again, they teach those basic CNA nursing skills related to what they'll need to know on the job. And then finally, these are the recommended simulators and task trainers that we have to provide specific to a pathway focusing on geriatrics. And we've been excited to build out this line of simulators this year, and we've got a nice breadth of hands-on learning resources now that you could be using to create a very interactive geriatrics pathway. You have everything from the simulation suit that students put on and they feel what it's like to age. We've got that Geri nursing mannequin, but we've also got a series of DVDs and other moulage and skin kits. So there's lots of ways you could integrate these into your pathway plan of study and really make it very, very interactive. So you can see those, the variety of hands-on resources from those last several slides. And so begin to think about how you could use each of these in the courses that you have in your plan of study. Again, if you already have some of these types of nursing simulators and task trainers from other sources, that's great. Again, identify the gaps that you have and look for ways to fill those. This type of hands-on resource, whether it be a simulator or a task trainer, these are the things that make your content memorable and make learning sticky for students. They will remember it. So we've kind of shared a lot of information. It's a lot to digest. So what do you do first? Well, let us help you. We've created an easy way to develop 3 different health science pathways, basically from the ground up, providing content, hands-on resources that are ready to be used immediately. So the suggested resources and hours of content fit within that health science career cluster. So most of the pathway packages that we're speaking of have anywhere from 15 to 19 hours of content if you purchase them. So to learn more about those 3 specific pathway packages we've been referring to, we've got the basic nursing, the CNA, and the geriatric, you can go to our website at the link on the screen in front of you, and you can take a closer look. Again, it will share all of the different content or topics that are in the curricula. It will share lists of all of those hands-on resources that come with that package, and you can see what you would get. Now, if you already have some of these things and don't need a duplicate of them in the package, we would be happy to create a custom quote that would help you build out the rest of your program if you've already got some of these things. So think about your gaps, think about what you already have, think about your budget and all the topics you want to cover. And but this is, we found that we've already been working with some health science instructors that are creating new pathways. And if you're new to a position or if you have to start just from scratch, this could be a great way to save a lot of time and really jumpstart your program and get going in year 1 and have a very effective and strong program. So, of course, besides our website, you're always welcome to call us at 800-830-1416. You're always welcome to email us at information@realityworks.com. So there's a lot of ways you can reach out to us, but we would be, we've got staff here that would be happy to take a look at what you've got and help you build out your health science pathway in a manner that works for you. So before we conclude, I thought this was a great visual from the National Consortium for Health Science Ed that summarizes how the health science career cluster leads to filling the skills gap we have in the health science careers. You can see it begins with awareness in early grades, gradually progressing to foundational knowledge and skills through high school, leading to specialized knowledge and skills in those 5 pathways learned through post-secondary coursework and, of course, in the workplace and on the job. So at this time, we would like to open it up for any questions you might have. We'll do our best to answer any questions. If you have any, you can feel free to just type those into the chat area on your screen, and we would be happy to answer those. I'll give everybody a moment just to consider if you have any questions. And of course, at the conclusion today, we will be sending out a link to the recording of this webinar. It will also be posted on the product support page of our website. So if you'd like to review any of it or share any of the information with colleagues, you can do so in those manners. Well, I'm just taking a look here and I don't see any questions. Again, if you think of any questions after today, don't be afraid to reach out to us. I'm going to jump over to our contact information slide. And again, you see our 800 number and our email address. So if you have any questions or things to talk about, don't be afraid to do that. We would love to help you build out your health science program of study and plan of study in any way that we can. So thank you very much for participating today. We really appreciate your time and have a great day. Thank you.